Hello. So today we are going to be looking over the new devlog number 23. As I heard, this just dropped, I believe today. Yep, it dropped today, judging by the date up here. So we're going to be looking over a bit. I'll look at technical attachments, weapon animations, detailed panel, recoil, which I'm excited about, and also new things that he might be wanting to do. So I'll start with reading all that stuff first. I will play the video, and I'll give my further insight and opinions about it. So we are going to be starting with tactical attachments. Judging by the thing, it's going to be somewhat about a remake of when you hold down T and it shows the attachments that you can apply to your weapon, making the now crowded attachments view not suck was trickier than I expected, since you can move around jumping and bobbing your weapon all over the place. With this new menu open, the angles leading to the item slots were not stable. I experimented with several different approaches involving trying to group the slots together, but in the end a relatively simple solution worked best. The slots push each other clockwise, inserting spacing, then counterclockwise, and then the average is used. Combining this with a few other techniques to keep the screen positions and angles stable turned out quite well. Now, as you can see here, you can see new attachments, railings, all sorts of stuff for your gun. Amazing. Now, moving on to weapon animations. Weapon animations have been changed significantly over the past year. Initially, while working on attachment changes last year, there were separate animations for detaching, attaching, and a detach-attach combo. This might make sense for some future items, but was a lot more work to animate and keep consistent. Back then, we still didn't have the space switching for animations either. Now, each equipped weapon can have its own dedicated animation blueprint, which allows much more control over the blending and base pose, especially for weapon and IK in the future. Creating the Eagle Fire and Timberwolf reload animations was a lot of fun and quick to do with all the animation tools I've made over the past year. Now blend the detach and attach animations into a combination, despite the item change being what triggers the animation. A notification partway through alerts and the visual to swap to the new magazine. Now moving on a details panel. It shows handguard, upper rail, raised rail, and always going down and just going down from there. Rating with deep item hierarchies. I'm probably saying that wrong. I just butchered that word right there. It was really confusing to keep track of where the item was, but now we have the new problem of extra tail details panel. I somehow suspect this won't be the last we see of these changes. Now on the recoil, shows a bit of like a sort of like snake type, which is what most games nowadays use for some guns. Last year I did some work on recoil patterns and recoil control, and reapproaching it with fresh eyes was helpful to make useful changes. All the way back to 3, the recoil was configured as a series of pitch/yaw changes. But thinking about it, this was not ideal in easily designing the shape of the pattern. Now we control a clockwise angle, the recoil will kick, and the magnitude of the kick, You can also see a preview of the pattern now in the editor shown above, and in the future I'd like to support editing the pattern by interacting with the preview. Now we're going to be talking about next and gameplay change list and the gameplay change list. It's looking like the next update to 3 will be on June 21st. Quite a few tasks have been stacked up on the to-do list for that. As such, Devlog 24 should be some day mid-July. Now for gameplay changes, usually for 3 I write the log as changes are made, but for this case I went through the commit history, gathering the gameplay related changes. So you guys can pause the video and read this, or you guys can head to the actual devlog. I will link it in the description below. Now moving on to the thing that most of you might have all been waiting for, is the video. I will be playing it in the next transition happening about now.
Hello! Today we've got a quick video about some of the item and weapon changes. One of the things that I couldn't really show off in the text post, which if you're interested there's a lot more details in that, is now the animations for reloading are back.
What I really like about this is that what he did to the animation, where you could just like, we haven't had. Am I just messing this up? Yes, I am. All I want to say is that everything looks pretty good. Red dot sight over here looks very good. The gun model, Nelson did a very good job in that, as well as the reload animation looks crisp and clean. I will continue on.
And the reason this came a little bit later is that I wanted to change the way that they're created and the way that they work together. So basically, if I go here and I change the magazine on the item, you can see that the magazine's still visible.
I know Nelson's gonna work on that, but that is pretty interesting.
On the weapon model, and that's because it delays the changes until the animation is told it that it can swap them out. And unlike 3, where you'll like grab your gun and sway it around a little bit, not doing anything when you're removing an item when you didn't have one before, it's actually split into an attach animation and a detach animation, and then it can blend those together. And in some cases it might make sense to have a dedicated reload animation when you're detaching and attaching, which is how it was last year when I was working on this. But in general, the system works a lot better than it used to when I did the first iteration, and I'm pretty happy with it. The sniper rifles animations are a lot sillier though. Let's see, we'll just get rid of this. I'll probably
the new inventory system looks pretty cool. It looks like something from like Windows 8 or XP with that like classic like X button and stuff. Just wanted to point that out.
Redo these at some point. It's just because the sniper animation was a little bit funny in the first place, where it falls down. But we throw up the magazine and then put a new one in. And then, like I was saying, these are all separate, so you can have just the one. I think that's it for the item animations. Now, I did a lot of work these past 2 weeks on the weapon inspect view. And so before, if you remember, there were little icons at each of the attachment points, which got really cluttered, especially with Eagle Fire. Whereas now it tries to space them in a circle around your screen. And one of the tricky aspects of this was that since you can move around, they were very bumpy. And they're still a little bit bumpy, but it's a lot better than it was. Well, I think you can hear Jasper in the background there.
I just like the fact that the guy's T-posing in the thing. That's pretty funny.
I think it's a little bit confusing if you don't know which slide is which, so I might do something about that. But also now it doesn't show the child items or attached items in the
That'll be pretty interesting to like go just like to head to a military base in Unturned 4 and just to find every single attachment for like the gun you need, but you don't have the gun. Just like having to find like the right rail, the left rail, the upper rail, the lower rail, and just a whole clutter of attachments. I think it's pretty cool how you can like customize your gun like that. I just think it's a bit much. But then again, Unturned 4.0 is meant to go high and above everyone's expectations.
Gun. So it's a little bit easier to tell what you've got in each slot. And actually here you can see the small magazine. There was more changes than just in the gameplay log, but I figured for that I would just put those. But so now you can have these item classes that are just the pure data of the item. But when you drag those into the world, you get the item, interactable item like that, which makes it easy to, actually we'll spawn a few more. And you can actually use this like if you're making a map and you want to have some sort of scenario, so you have like the gun tilted or something, which also is good for showing off that now the attachments contribute to the physics, which didn't happen in 3 either. So, I mean, that's a fairly simple change, but I think it also makes it a lot easier to pick it up. Let's see, so now we can use the new screen here. Oh, I gotta pick it up first. Throw some of these on here. And now the inspect view, you can expand the hierarchy of items. So we can see here that now they have the different names for them, and we can go find the attachments all the way down. And it actually works the other way around. If we put that on here, you can see the hierarchy of which item owns which. And this is still here to select an item to attach. There's still some more work that needs to be done there, though. Another thing that I think is interesting, worth showing off, is, let's see, just turn on infinite ammo. If we shoot, there's a bit of a recoil pattern now, which I hadn't upgraded yet, but now you can cancel it out, which will stop it from blending back towards your original aim. So if you're good at aiming, then you don't get thrown off.
So I'm probably going to have to cut out a bit of the video because it started having some impact. My computer's not the strongest thing. Yep, it's pretty hot right now. But overall, a lot of stuff Nelson has added and has told us about. And I think like I said, I keep saying this again, but he's doing a very good job on Unturned 4.0. And I really appreciate it that he's putting this much work into his game. Anyway, that is all for today's video. Thank you so much for watching, and bye.